Zone 5. Welcome. So today we're talking about hardy perennials, those reliable flowers that come back year after year that are low maintenance and give us beautiful flowers. So let's talk about 10 different varieties you will want to add to your garden, or you may already have these in your garden but want to add some other varieties of these plants to your garden. So let's get going. The first one we're going to talk about today is peony. Peony is the flower of the year for 2024. We're going to be seeing, I think, a lot more peonies at the garden center this year. We're going to see them more in bouquets, in wedding bouquets, in floral arrangements. Peonies are going to be pretty popular this season. They're great in zones 3 through 8. They come in multiple colors. They're fragrant. They're a great plant to add this year, and enjoy those cut flowers to bring inside because they look beautiful in arrangements. And if you're enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe. Next, let's talk about cranesbill, also known as hardy geranium. This is great in zones 5 through 9. It likes full sun to part shade. It gets up to 2 foot tall and comes in pinks, purples, whites. It starts blooming in late spring and will go clear until fall. So if you plant this out in your garden, you're going to get to have that color interest all season long, and then it'll come back again next year. Then we have blazing star, also known as liatris. It is a hot, drought-tolerant perennial. It likes that type of weather. It gets up to 5 foot tall. It is good in zones 3 through 9. The butterflies, bees, and pollinators love blazing star. Now this has a clump of leaves down at the bottom, and then it'll shoot up tall spikes of flowers that have little florets all over them. Now we're going to talk about a tiny one known as moss phlox, or you may have heard it called creeping phlox or carpet phlox. This one only gets to 10 inches tall, and this is considered a good ground cover. It starts blooming early in the spring, like when the tulips and daffodils are blooming. And then when it's finished blooming, you have mossy green grass-like foliage that is left behind for all summer long. So this is a good one to add to your garden. And of course, carpet phlox, it does well in mass planting. So you can add a bunch of these together and have a carpet looking effect in your garden. Oh, and the bonus on this one is it is deer resistant. And then we have the quintessential daisy. Now, specifically, I'm talking about Shasta daisies. Shasta daisies are that white. Sometimes you see them in cream. They come in other colors, but a lot of times we think of Shasta daisies as that white color. There's a variety of different heights you can pick from, different flower shapes you can pick from. These make really good cut flowers. They last a long time in bouquets after they're cut. They last a long time out in the garden as on the plant. So you have a lot of color power with them. Now, sizing these as short as 6 inches all the way up to 48 inches. They attract birds. They're low maintenance. They look great in containers. They're good in zones 5 through 9, and they are considered drought tolerant. Next is Asiatic lilies. Asiatic lilies are the hardiest of all lilies, and they bloom pretty quickly when you plant them by bulb out in your garden. They bloom in early to midsummer, and they come in a multiple different colors. So depending on what color you want out in your garden, you can add these. They make great cut flowers for bouquets. They get up to 4 foot tall. They work in zones 3 to 10. They multiply pretty quickly, so that's going to fill in wherever you put them. And also that gives you the option in a few years if you need to dig them up and divide them and add them to other areas of your garden. And then we have a shrub-like perennial that comes back year after year and can live for decades, and that is Baptisia, also known as false indigo. When I was researching this, I came across an article that Better Homes and Gardens has this plant in their test garden, and they actually have plants from the 1950s that are still returning every year. So this is a long living plant to add to your garden. It gets up to 4 foot tall. It's great in zones 3 through 8. It takes full sun to part shade. And then we have Russian sage. Russian sage gets very tall, up to 5 foot, but there are dwarf varieties that only get to 3 foot if you're looking for something shorter. Now this has the purple bluish flowers on it with the silvery foliage that's fragrant. This loves full sun and is extremely drought tolerant. If you are looking for something that you need a place in your garden that gets some full sun and also maybe not a real great water source, this would be a good spot for you to add some Russian sage in. Think of it like lavender. You want that same dry, sunny location that you would be planting your lavender in. And then we have Coreopsis, tick seed, the American native. It is heat and drought tolerant. It does really well out in your garden. It multiplies year after year, so you'll see new plants added every year. It does great in zones 3 through 8, gets up to 4 foot tall, comes in a variety of colors. A lot of times when I think of tick seed though, I do think of those pretty yellow flowers. They do make pretty cut flowers to add to your bouquets. And once out in the garden, those flowers are spent. If you trim them, it'll force the plant to put new blooms on. Okay, now we're going to talk about a perennial vine, and that is clematis or clematis, whichever way you like to pronounce it. Now it comes in a variety of colors, so they're good for your trellis, for your obelisk, for your fence. You can also put them with other things that like to climb, like roses. And they start blooming in late spring and can go until fall, depending on what clematis you choose. So if you put a variety of clematises in your garden, you could technically have blooms all summer long, because as one gets done, another one would start. So these are good in zones 4 to 9. And if you don't have a clematis, I would think about adding one. They do work as cut flowers. I have cut my clematises and added them to arrangements that I've brought indoors, and they really do add a pop of color to that bouquet. So there you have it. There are 10 hardy perennials to add to your garden to have that beautiful flower power. Add those garden gems to have return color year after year. I hope that gave you some ideas of some varieties you want to add to your garden this year. And if you are needing more inspiration, check out these videos next.